Okay, there you go. Check that out. 5.5 pounds spinnerbait. I was waking it up on the surface in laydowns in about 3 feet of water. Beautiful. It's about 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning now. Really, really nice. Came right out of here in the back spawning cove. There you go. Look at that baby. All right. Good 5.5 pounds. Came right out of those laydowns, man. He just smashed that Picasso with the Oklahoma blade. I was just boiling it up on the surface and then letting it flutter down, shaking it. Nice, nice bass. All right, let's get this one back in. Let's go get some more now. Okay, there you go. Nice 5.5 pound bass. 21 inches long. And there he goes. Look at that. See him going down? Yes. Okay, number 2. Not as big, but nice. Slow rolled the Picasso right off these pads, and then as I got out off the ledge on the, it's like a grass flat, heavy grass here in this late spring and summer, and rolled it. They're in the grass flats. They're moving back and forth in the spawning channel here. So let's get this one off. Let's go get this amount of weight on this fish. Weighs a good 3 pounds. It's really fat. Look at the belly on this baby. All right, here we go. There we go. Number 2. Right out of the grass flats on that Terminator Picasso. It's like a Terminator. I'm using 14-pound test fluorocarbon line. Oklahoma blade, 1/2 ounce. Right off, this is about 200 yards in from the main lake body in a back creek. Number 3. 50 yards up. Look at this baby, almost 5 pounds, 4.5 for sure. Look at that. Oh yeah, it came right out of here. I'm in shallow pads. They're all up shallow in these spawning coves. They're in like a 1/2 foot, 2 feet of water and all that grass and pads. They're up in here chasing bait fish, man. Oh man, you could whack them off today. This is crazy. Oh, this is nice. I gotta get this off and get go. Yes, we are eating shad in the shallow pads. All right, man, look at that. All right, number 3. Oh yes. All right, baby, let's go. Let's get you back in. There we go. Oh yes, came right out of there, boy. Big 1/2 ounce Picasso spinnerbaits doing the trick. Yeah. Number 4. Not quite as big. 3 pounds though. Next set of pads up right here where the little cove is, where it cuts in. Right off the main lake. Not too far away from the mouth. Look at that baby. Okay. And now you can go back in. Right out of there, out of these pads. Here's Ken, Fish Herman Reynolds. He's here with me this morning. He had that tournament yesterday. It's not a tournament, but kind of a grudge match tournament with Derek and Bill Wolford, bow shooter from our site. And you saw me on the video here, meeting him here and giving him the jerk baits. Ken, what happened yesterday with that tournament? How'd you do?
It was an awesome bite. Actually, me and Derek hit him really early. Derek led off. He caught one off of the wall straight away on a chatterbait. Went about 2 pounds. Then the rest of the day, or I should say the rest of the morning, it was the Fish Herman show. Along that wall, I took 3. The lightest one being 1.6 pounds. The heaviest one well into the 2 pound range. Went up towards the front, finished off the limit with a heavy 3 pounder. Meanwhile, Rourke and Walford were doing great on a chatterbait and a white spinnerbait. They had 2 and then they kind of sputtered. This cove where Steve has been tearing them up this morning is where they finished off their limit.
But any on those small rattle traps that you were throwing?
Not the small rattle trap. My heavy fish came on my red mill tackle crankbait, the 01, the very shallow run with the coffin bill.
Was that the same one you were using the day that we caught him in the cove?
The very same one.
Okay, yeah, so everybody's seen that bait. Yeah.
And that was up front, off of a brush pile.
Okay.
But man, it was a great day. We weren't sure how it was going to turn out, but now this has given us room for a a second grudge match, so it's going to be fun.
I wish you had some more time today, because these fish are stacked up back in this cove.
Wow.
The first one came on that big laydown on the left-hand side, almost all the way in the back, and he hit it on the surface, boiling. He weighed almost 6.
Oh my!
Then I swung around to the very back of the cove where I'd caught him before in a tournament many years ago, where we got like 25 pounds.
Right.
They were way back in that shallow water that's only 6 inches deep with the heavy grass.
Exactly.
Well, now the grass is dying.
Right.
But where that grass used to be, they were in there in the pads.
Gotcha.
And I caught the second one that weighed almost 5.
Nice.
Then I caught a third one that weighed 5.5.
Oh,
then I caught a fourth one just now before I saw you that weighed 4.
Nice.
So they're all stacked in there. So I'm going to go in, see if they're in all the pads like that in similar, type of water.
Right.
And then if they are, that'll be fantastic. If not, I'll just swing back around, come through, and then work it again more thoroughly, and see what happens later in the day. Awesome. But you'll see them on video. It'll be up in probably about 6 or 7 hours on the site. So.
Awesome. That's great, Steve.
Do you have any idea what's going on with Lake Como? Why the water's all the way down?
There was it's been an ongoing thing with Lake Como up in Smyrna. The town would drop the water level so people could work on their docks, clean up their shorelines. And there's been a lot of problems in the past where they drop the water around this time here, and they leave it down to almost spawning time. The population there is very small, the bass population. Now they're doing a set time where it's going to be let down from now, like the beginning of December. They're going to bring the water level back up, and they will only do it like every 2 to 3 years.
So they will have the water level back up, though, before this.
And well before pre-spawn and spawn.
All right. All right, well, get back, take care of things at home, and I'll see you in a little while. Okay, I'm heading off the main lake now, back into this next creek. This is the next one up from the road down on Route 1. And I'm going to see if they're doing the same thing in all the pads in that same depth water, in the same type of pads with the same type of vegetation, or whether they're just specifically located back in that particular creek because of the bait fish and the water temperature and the color. We have water temperatures today in the low 50s. They're rising, though, up into the mid and upper 50s here in some of the shallows. So I think that's what's happening with these bass here, chasing some of these shad back up into the creeks where it's warming up in the muddier water. So I'm going to find some more water that's exactly the same here and see what happens. See if maybe we can duplicate this in a different location. There we go. They're back in here too. They're back in here too. Now that one's not as big, but that's 5. That makes 5. See, 4 times 5, 25, 21 pounds so far on 5. Up here in this creek, way all the way at the end of the creek where it ends near the road. There he goes. He came right out of that shallow water there. The water's warming up here in the shallows. That's what's going on. They're chasing shad. That's number 6. Like I would cull out that other one, so that would give me 5 fish at about 21 3/4, 22 pounds. See, the key to this is I'm back up here in these real shallows. The water's a foot deep, and I'm throwing that Oklahoma spinnerbait, and I'm boiling it on the surface, killing it, shaking the tip, and they're just coming out of that pads, coming out of the brush, really nailing it. And they're all feeding up. This is it, man. This is your fall bass fishing right here. Fall bass, spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, rattle traps. It's happening now. Just got to get up shallow, get into the backs of the creeks. The water temperature is only 52 degrees, but they're hitting in here and smashing that Oklahoma spinnerbait. Right off the wall. Wind's blowing in, hit the spinnerbait off the wall where he normally hits. But there's another one. Same thing. That spinnerbait came right off the wall where the There you go, baby. Right out of the pads here on the corner. I swear the other day I had just barely had a little tick, thought it was a bass, and then didn't get it. Right up here on the pads. I swear I caught one that was almost 9 pounds and lost it in the wind about 5-6 months ago. That would cull out one of the others, because that's pretty damn nice. And that'd give you about 22.5 pounds now. Came right out of here. No. working these outside pads here, where we caught them on the chatterbait earlier in the year. Just picked this one up now. Nice. Nice bass. Decent, huh? Another really nice bass on that Oklahoma Picasso spinnerbait. That's 3 pounds. Nice bass. There you go, right down from Ken's house in the pads by Hopkins Dock. About 2.5 pounds, nice bass. Gonna keep working these pads around. I just lost my first one a few minutes ago of the whole day. Every one I've caught so far I've hooked and landed, and you've seen, but I lost one about the same size as this while coming into these. There he goes. Back in where there's a reason that they're in these pads, because these are the pads that normally all year long have real thick, heavy, matted grass. Not milfoil, but just that thick, heavy grass. Grows right to the surface. You can barely fish it, but it holds heat. So now, as the water's cold everywhere, the shallows warm first. That heavy grass holds the heat, and of course it also holds the bait fish. So now they're in there in the pads where all that grass is inside of the pads and on the edges of it, in the shallow water, 1 to 3 feet deep, and they've got cover, they've got food, and they've got warmer water. So that's why they're in there. I was going to leave. I pulled him out of this laydown right here. See that tree there right down from Ken Reynolds' house? Man, I threw that in there and I rolled that, I slow rolled it. That's a good 5.5 pounds. Easily 5.5 pounds. Oh yes. Yes. That's a nice one, isn't it? Good 5.5 pounds. Oh yeah. Look at the size of that, man. Oh man, I'm up to like 5 fish limit of 25, a little over 25 pounds now. 25 pounds on 5 fish. Look at that. Alright, there's not a whole lot I can tell you with this except that I found the fish. They were up shallow in all the backs of the creeks. Caught them on that Picasso Oklahoma bladed spinnerbait, about 1 to 3 feet of water. We got a little cloud cover coming in. We had about a 20-mile-an-hour wind most of the day, and I caught 22 bass. Culled out. Had a 5 fish limit of 24.2.3 pounds right in there. Jumped back and forth, but about 24 pounds we'll just say. So at 5 fish, 24 pounds, at 22 bass total. You'll see them all on the video, of course, here, and appreciate it if you'd stop in the tackle store. Got a lot of specials going on. You still get free baits till the end of the year. Don't forget to keep an eye out for H2O Films. He's going to have the tournament with Ken and Derek that they just did, and a lot of other great shows that'll be posted here on our site also. So until next time, Steve Von Brandt for DelawareTrophyBass.com saying see you on the water.